Hello everyone, this is Mahmoud Alyazji and this is a presentation for Dr. Rifat Al-Arir at the Islamic University of Gaza Shakespeare course. Now, this presentation is a comparison between Shakespeare's Hamlet, and Hamlet here is not with quotation marks, so I mean the character, and Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Now, before we go to the comparison, I thought we should know brief descriptions about both the characters and the plays. Now, Hamlet is this is with a quotation mark, is one of Shakespeare's most popular and loved tragedies, in which he explores themes of betrayal, revenge, and existential crisis. And it is set in Denmark and belongs to the genre of tragedy. I'm sure we had a pretty good idea with Dr. Rifat about Hamlet. Now, Game of Thrones is one of the most popular TV shows. It's personally one of my favorite. It's based on R.R. Martin's 8 books, like it reminds me of Harry Potter, and it was turned into a series of 8 seasons. Now, Game of Thrones is a fantasy, and it happens in the fantasy place Westeros. It follows noble family battling for the Iron Throne in a fictional world filled with power struggles, political intrigue, and epic conflicts. Now, Hamlet, the character, is one of the most interesting characters I've known because Hamlet is not normal. He's torn between. We see how he grapple between between the decisions to kill his uncle or to not, to to kill him right now or delay it, to listen to the ghost or not, to be or not to be, his famous soliloquy. And we see him how he questions nature and life in his soliloquies and his speeches. Tyrion Lannister is one of the most lovable and clever, cleverest. It's one of the cleverest characters in in the series. He's a dwarf, so he's a thinker. Though he's a dwarf, he has his place. All all thanks to his mind. Now let's go to the comparison. We're going to compare between intelligence and outcast. Now Hamlet intelligence is evident in his soliloquies, where we see him questions life. He asks actually philosophical questions that one might not really think about in daily life. He asks about the afterlife, now and afterlife. Should we prefer now or the afterlife? Should we really listen to a ghost or not? He questions a lot of things that actually made me questions a lot of things. Tyrion Lannister and before I move to Tyrion Lannister, the idea of making making himself crazy, of acting crazy and making a play within the play within a play is brilliant. Just think of him acting crazy to get his uncle's intuitions, his uncle's doings. This is brilliant. Anyway, in Game of Thrones, Tyrion Lannister consistently displays his intelligence through his witty remarks and strategic thinking. Indeed, he's always consulted with the country matters, with the political and strategic plans. He outwits his enemies through his clever wordplay, and it is his weapon. In one of the scenes I remember, Jon Snow asks Tyrion, "Why do you read?" Tyrion was reading while everyone was resting. And Tyrion said, "Look at me. What do you see?" And he said, "A dwarf." He said, "Exactly. I have to work harder than you do. I have to be intelligent in order to compensate on the other things. He has to work harder. He has to earn his position only because he's a dwarf. Now the outcasts. Now we see how Hamlet is really not comfortable around rural people, around palace people. But in the other hand, he's loved by the multitude and he loves the multitude. We see how he deals with his friends, the players, the guest players, and this is actually a feature in Tyrion. Tyrion actually used to respect everyone around him. He used to respect women, though this might be a difference between Hamlet and Tyrion, because I don't know if Hamlet respected women. I don't think so. He said, "Fertility, thy name is woman." But Tyrion used to respect everyone, but he at the same time he used to disguise palace people, corrupted people. He hated this. He hated corruption, the political corruption that was going on, the the people themselves and how they think. It's a place full of mockery, and they both hated this. Now, this was my short presentation, my short comparison. I have more to compare about, but unfortunately, there are a limited time for this presentation. So thank you so much for listening.